time for us to prepare, because now you have been saying this and this
so
time
and
again. I think now it will work out. But now for Kenyans, I believe we should also now not blame Mr. Kumbi. Maybe if you give me time to tell them. Look at our president, that's Nick Mwendwa. Nick Mwendwa has made it clear that his plans are to qualify for
2022
World Cup. So then if we lose against Guinea-Bissau,
so
it's okay.
So
you think our plan are to qualify for FIFA World Cup 2022. And also
that comment has really caused a storm in the social media, and Andenga, you are aware of that, people are saying, so we shouldn't really mind about losing to Guinea-Bissau just because we won 2022.
Let me tell you one thing, at the situation right now that Kenyans are, Kenyans now want results. We are tired of waiting. We are tired of giving us visions of 5-year plans and 10 years.
But how can you achieve that? But
let me tell you, we want to do it like Chelsea. You know, when Abramovich brought in Mourinho, after 50 years, he delivered a trophy. We want something like that, something to cool off the nerves, something to calm us down. We need that. If you're not going to bring us, people will stone you. Remember Reinhard Fabisch?
Yeah.
He won a couple of matches, and he was Fabisch for president, and then he lost. Fabisch is rubbish.
Must go.
So Fabisch must go. So it happens like that because we are tired of waiting. So you have to deliver. Yes, we have that plan. We have that plan that we want to go to World Cup 2022. But remember, Harambee Stars is not a rehabilitation center. That is not an academy where you're bringing a 7-year-old. Because the team sheet had Patilo Moto was born in 2009.
No, that's
the team sheet. Ovela Ochieng. So you don't bring 7-year-olds to play for the national team.
No,
2009. Yeah, the team sheet had that.
The team sheet says he was born 2009. But I think that is...
So he's 7 years old right now.
Graphical error.
So you're trying to... This is not an academy, it's a national team. It's not a rehabilitation center.
I get your point, but Ovela Ochieng is an Upper Hill High School student. I think he's now in form for this year. And we wish him well.
And he's 7 years old.
He has shown that he's got the talent. But Mukanga, as Odinga says, that we need results now. Do we have the players? Do we have the players now to give us those results?
Yeah, we have, but I think we don't have good scouting team. We have good players. If you move around, I come from Eastland, that's Makadara, Jogorod, move around Shauri Moyo, Jericho, Kamtoyo. I think we have a lot of talent. We have a lot of good players. So I think we have players, but we don't have good people who can scout, and we also don't have, we don't have a good management in football. We still need someone, I think, maybe I say we have a good leader, that's Nick Mwendwa, our president, but I think now he needs some good advisors, a person who can advise him. Because at the moment, the people who are advising him, unfortunately, they are from the previous regime. Some of them, I think now, they will be misleading him. He's a nice guy.
They might sabotage
but he needs someone to tell him to cool down, to slow down. When we are beaten by Guinea-Bissau, you don't need to rush to social media, Twitter, telling Kenyans that defend yourself. No, you don't do that.
He needs to cool down.
So we have players, but we don't have a good team to scout. Yeah.
Andenga, people have been talking about the need to put structures in place and scout players at that young age. And I've always held this view that it's not the business of the federation, because they cannot keep those players. They cannot give them the contracts. That it is the business of the clubs to scout, nurture that talent, and sell them for a profit in Europe. Are our clubs doing that?
I agree with you. I'm also of that opinion. That the clubs themselves should start. You should set that example. If the clubs themselves have like these youth systems, for example, I'll give you an example of Madara United. For all these years, they've always relied on the youth system and the MISA leagues. If we would have all Premier League clubs that are playing in the top league in Kenya have those kind of systems, that you have an under 14 side, an under 16, an under 17, you know, all those levels, I think it will be very good. But also let's talk about the technical director, his role. You know, once you get appointed as a technical director for the federation, you're supposed to ensure that these structures are there. So they're supposed to enforce them. You have to force the clubs to do that. You know, you cannot participate in the top league if you don't have a certain amount of money.
Sure.
When you have a certain amount of money, it means you can have maybe 3 levels down. We can talk of an under 20, an under 19, or an under 16, and
that
under
is at
17.
the club level.
Exactly, the club levels. Exactly. But when you have these structures, and then we can talk about, before you play in the Kenyan top league, the KPL, you need to have an under 20, an under 14, or an under 12. You know, and then we can talk about, because as the president of the club, you can think about maybe participating in international tournaments that are geared towards developing young talents, like the Gotha Cup in Sweden, like the Norway Cup in Norway. You know, there are so many, like in Brazil, there are so many. You can look for them, look for sponsors, and try and sell the kids out there.
Mkangai, the view is really that the clubs need to step up also to the plate and ensure that there is a constant flow to the national team. And looking at the Kenya Premier League clubs, do you think they are failing in their duty to scout for this talent?
I think they have failed because in Kenya, I believe when we talk about academies, we can talk about Thika United, maybe Madara United, of late Gor Mahia, they have under 19, they're doing good, they're doing well. FC Leopards, of late, they have done it, but maybe we could start with the under 15 for us to develop as a stage from under 16, you go to under 20, then you can qualify for the club. But I think we have failed because now we are splashing money to look for players from Uganda. Look even at Gor Mahia, the last season, the team that won league unbeaten. It's unfortunate it was Uganda Cranes because most of the players were from Uganda. But if at all you have players from academy, then you can feed your club.
All Ugandans, you included, I'm sure, after the death of Abel Daira, the Ugandan Cranes goalkeeper. Did you hear of that?
Yes, well, it was a sad moment yesterday when the announcement was made that he succumbed to cancer. I think he was so young to have died, you know, of cancer. But again, cancer is claiming so many young talents and lives in Kenya, in Uganda, across the African continent. So it was sad news. I guess Uganda Cranes are going to miss him.
Yeah,
but that said, let's come back to Kenya. I really have been a great supporter of Harambee Stars, but now I do not know. I'm being put in the same position that I think I was when I was supporting the Uganda Cranes. I still support them, but I think the heartaches are now becoming too much. Sure. You know, when you get to that point where, yes, you think now this time we're going to make it, and then we just don't make it. What is the fate of Bobby Williamson now?
It's very unclear because the FKF president said that he had asked him to step aside to pave way for another coach to prosecute this African Cup of Nations campaign. But then Bobby Williamson is now in limbo because legally he still has a contract. He has a contract with FKF. But then it's a matter of time before we get to know what is going to happen. But for your information, I know it's the turn of Uganda tomorrow. They are playing Burkina Faso in Kampala. They lost 1-0 in Ouagadougou, Burkina Faso. I hope they'll win.
May the best team win.
Sure.
Yes, and I still have my support for both Kenya and Uganda as well. So whatever outcome, I hope that it's going to be positive at the end of it all. So does this mean that, you know, Kenya just might not host the Chan Cup in 2018 with what happened yesterday? Because they were talking of a ban.
There's a real threat to that, but then we have to wait for CAF so that we see if they are going to find Kenya or even, you know, eject them from the tournament in 2019. But until then, we've been talking about Harambee Stars' performance and also athletics. And in the studio, we had Shadrack Andenga Odinga and Stephen Mukangai. Until next week, when we'll have the same opportunity to talk about matter sports, it's bye-bye from us. Back to Joy Doreen Bira.
Well, thanks a lot. It's been such an honor having you in studio, always talking about sports and keeping us up to date with what's happening. And like he said, you can catch all the sporting action on Zilizala. That's going to be at 5 p.m. in case you are interested in that. But of course, we'll keep you up to date throughout the day with our consecutive bulletins. Now, today we are also celebrating someone's birthday. He's called Kevin, and he's one of the guys that is actually on the camera that I'm looking in. No, the camera that is right there in the middle. Yes, he's a great cameraman, and today I'm told he turns 16. I'm not so sure he looks 16 today. He looks more like 26, maybe 22, around there. Yeah, around there. So happy birthday to him. Let's take a short break. We'll be back with more news. Do stay with us.